Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode of I Trek. Big shout out to everybody that is just tapped in, man. Hey, major shout out to all the members and the fam in the building. If this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy videos from all around the internet and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. One thing that's a fact in this lifetime, man, is you gotta do your homework, and when it comes to these conspiracies, don't believe everything that you see. But before we get into any of that, do me the biggest favor and hit that like button for me, hit that hype button, and subscribe if you're not a part of the iTrack fam, man, and let's go ahead and get right into it.
A meteor traveling over 75,000 miles per hour struck Massachusetts yesterday. And once again, this meteor struck the ground so hard that it was heard in 3 different states. And with saying that, keep it in the back of your mind. This meteor right here touched down in northeast Massachusetts. Have a listen right here as to how loud this was when the impact took place. Have a listen. Did you hear how loud that was? That is incredibly loud. Have another listen to it. Just incredibly crazy. Have a look at these videos of other locations experiencing that boom as well. Look. And then I understand there are those that say that meteors hit the earth all the time. But think about this. A meteor of that size, traveling at that speed, sound normal to you and not being detected by any of our agencies? So I guess my question to you is a meteor traveling over 75,000 miles per hour, entering the Earth's atmosphere undetected, sound normal to you? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
All the fam out there in Boston and all surrounding areas, definitely tap in and let me know if you heard it, man, because that sounded like that was pretty major.
Kobe Bryant and Myles Garrett are the same person, and after today, a day where Myles Garrett is traded to LA to play for the Rams on the same exact day that Kobe's draft day sneakers get released. By the way, Kobe was traded to LA on draft day as well. He's not going to put a ram horn on his head. The devil has a ram head as well. And you're telling me that you don't think Kobe's satanic? He calls his workout plan the 666 plan. He dropped 81 points on his 666th game. They gave out a toy Kobe helicopter head on his final game. You think that he's not a fallen angel. You think that he's not Myles Garrett. So you think that on Earth, you guys think that the world leaders, the people that are in charge, like Trump and Netanyahu and all these guys, you think they're just humans like you and me? You think a human dad and a human mom just birthed them and they run the world and they're just humans? And you think what it says in the Bible about the fallen angels is just false? So you believe in God, you pray to God, but in your brain, only parts of the Bible are real and parts aren't. The book that they took out, the book of Enoch, that doesn't belong in there, right? They wrote the Bible 600 years after they wrote the Bible. They took one book out that talks about all the fallen angels, and that part's just not true, right? There's literally no reason for me to make this video other than to help you and wake you up. Just look into it. Just look into it, okay?
Now definitely tap in and let me know, do you think he was cooking? Or do you think he was stretching and reaching like a Pilates instructor? You know, because Kobe is the GOAT.
Nobody talks about the time when young Leo DiCaprio had some wild theories.
This is confidential, but the Mona Lisa here isn't really the Mona Lisa.
So over 30 years ago, DiCaprio reveals why he thinks the Mona Lisa in the Louvre is fake.
Supposedly some guys really stole it and it's like a replica because they have it like this behind this little thin piece of glass, and then I could have just gone in there and taken it home, put it under my jacket.
Then Leo connects the dots in the funniest way possible.
But I'll believe it just for the sake that, I have the same name as Da Vinci.
Am I crazy, or am I seeing this too? This looks like fingers, right? That's exactly what I think it looks like. A hand or fingers with fingernails. Be prepared to be amazed. Let's just zoom out.
guys, the same exact people who were behind the COVID vaccine are now rushing out a brand new one for Ebola, and they want it in people within months. The World Health Organization just admitted themselves that Ebola is now spreading faster than they're able to contain it. And since there's still no vaccine for this strain specifically, a team of scientists are now trying to use the same exact tech that they used during COVID to make a vaccine for Ebola. It is still spreading every single day with over 1,200 cases. Uganda has now closed their border, and Kenya just activated their own response plan in a desperate attempt to get ahead of it before it's worse.
Reported cases of Ebola now surging above 1,000 in Central Africa. A team of U.S. health officials now racing to Kenya to set up a treatment facility for Americans exposed to the virus.
The World Health Organization also just actually raised the risk level to very high, which is the highest risk category that they even have. They're having trouble keeping it contained right now because it's spreading through a part of Congo that is basically in a war zone. The people there don't trust the doctors, and health workers and clinics are literally getting attacked almost every single day. So that's insane. The real question is, would you guys get the vaccine?
No.
So one of the missing 11 scientists have been found 11 months after she vanished without a trace. New Mexico State Police announced they identified the remains of Melissa Casillas, 54, who was last seen alive on June 26, 2025. Her body was found in the Carson National Forest, approximately 6 miles from where she was last seen. A hiker in the forest made the discovery, and a handgun was found alongside the body.
All right, just into our newsroom, police have discovered the remains of a New Mexico woman who's been missing for nearly a year. The body of Melissa Casillas, an assistant at the Los Alamos National Laboratory, a nuclear security facility, was discovered in a national forest about 70 miles from her home. Police say they also recovered a gun near her body. Casillas first reported missing last June when she didn't show up for work. Her purse, her phone, and her ID all left at home. You probably remember this story because Casillas is one of those several scientists and military service members who have either unexpectedly died or gone missing just within the last few years. Police say,
why are there more tornadoes in the United States than anywhere else on Earth? By a lot. And nearly all of them happen right here. To make a tornado, you need 4 ingredients. Number 1, warm, wet air. This flows into the plains from the Gulf. 2, warm, dry air pulled across the plains by a jet stream. That hot, dry air forms a cap, keeping that wet air close to the ground. Ingredient 3 is these perpendicular winds, moving at different speeds that act like a blender, causing the wind in the middle to rotate, which is actually fine until you add ingredient 4. Super dense, cold, dry air that flows in like a bulldozer busting through that cap, causing that warm, wet air to shoot upward, sometimes over 160 kilometers per hour, rapidly forming these gigantic storm clouds. And then, as that spinning air races upward, it's tilted into a vertically spinning storm. That hot, dry air is still flowing in, but now it's rapidly being cooled by rain, causing it to plummet toward the ground. But the warm, wet air down there is still spiraling it right back up into the storm. And all that is forming a tornado. And it's important to understand these ingredients because Tornado Alley is moving. To find out why, follow along.
World Economic Forum predicts that by 2030, 92 million human jobs will be replaced by AI. So here's a list of the top 10 skill-based jobs most likely to be replaced by AI. This list comes from reports from the Pew Research Institute, Business Insider, and Bloomberg. You're also going to be getting a percentage for the likelihood that the job is completely replaced by 2030. And coming in at number 10 is a medical imaging tech. Google and IBM have already shown with their AI high accuracy when it comes to reading X-rays and MRIs. Therefore, there's a 45% chance that a medical imaging tech is completely replaced by AI by 2030. Next, coming in at number 9 with a 48% chance of being replaced is pharmacists. Amazon and CVS have already been using AI and robotics to automatically fill prescriptions and make sure there's no sort of drug interactions with great accuracy. So pharmacists have a 48% chance of being replaced by 2030. Coming in at number 8 with a 50% chance of being replaced by AI by 2030 is a market research analyst. AI has the ability to scrape through real-time data, look at survey sentiment, and also generate reports and insights rapidly.
If the Antichrist were to come to power, it would be by talking about Armageddon all the time. Armageddon. Armageddon. Armageddon.
The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
Yes?
I don't know. I would.
This is a long hesitation.
You could actually unilaterally change the world without having to constantly convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through a technological means.
If you have ideas that are taboo, that you're not allowed to discuss, my shortcut is to suspect they're simply correct.
This is absolutely crazy, suspicious, and you're going to want to hear it. A group of men crawled out of a sewer in New York City and ran off. They scattered, and it didn't just happen once. Yeah, it happened multiple times, and at least twice it was recorded on video. So just a day ago, people saw a group of men coming out of a sewer in Brooklyn. Yeah, that's in New York, Brooklyn. And as each one got out of the sewer, they ran in different directions. Then, today, it happened again at a different sewer. And this one was also caught on video. This isn't some random event. People don't usually just crawl through sewers, go out through a manhole, and skedaddle. There is something going on here. People walking by recorded it on their phones. Security cameras saw this stuff. And the truly scary part, even scarier than seeing a group of men coming out of a sewer, is that as soon as they got out, each and every one of them ran off in a different direction. I don't know what's going on, but this is really bizarre. And with all the problems we got in the country today, including the government saying possible sleeper cells are here in the US, something like this, random men coming out of sewers and then just running away, has to be a concern. It just does. Till next time, Shabadoo Bushkis, Shabadoo.
This might just be one of the internet's most debated paranormal videos of all time, and you're about to see exactly why. Uploaded in 2017 by Deer Park CBS, this disturbing CCTV footage allegedly captures unexplained activity inside an empty school hallway around 3 a.m. What made the footage even more creepier was the fact that the school itself already had a reputation for strange occurrences long before the video ever surfaced online. Staff and students reportedly spoke of unexplained crying sounds echoing through the hallways, sudden cold spots, flickering lights, and other eerie incidents throughout the building. Now, at first, everything inside the corridor seems completely quiet and normal. However, I want you to carefully pay attention to the hallway. But things only escalate from there. Moments later, one of the lockers suddenly begins shaking aggressively before bursting open, sending papers and objects flying across the floor as if they had been thrown by an unseen force. And just when the hallway seems to fall silent again, a wet floor sign is suddenly hurled across the corridor with aggressive force. Do you think this footage is genuine, or is this a hoax?
Getting really weird. This is a man who just got the Neuralink chip in the side of his head to control a mouse. Take a look at this.
Do you have any side effects?
No, I don't have any side effects.
Do you have any?
I don't have any.
Can you feel it?
I can't feel it. Is it? I was able to do it and then I did it.
And how long did that take you?
That took me about a week.
And then you went home and...
I practiced at home.
And so what do you think the biggest benefit of this is?
The biggest benefit is that it's going to help people with spinal cord injuries and people with Parkinson's disease and people with epilepsy and people with depression, anxiety, and all these different things. I could still move the mouse with my mind.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I had. It's actually pretty cool.
Is it like a chip?
It's a small chip, yeah.
So I'm curious about the device itself, you know, the actual, how long did it take you to get used to it?
It was a process, you know, it took a few months to really get comfortable with it, but now it's just part of me, in my head.
Can you show us?
Can you show me where? Right here. So the future is going to be amazing. We're going to be able to do so much more.
I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, where there were just things that you had to learn. Even though someone can smile and tell you everything is good, you want to try this. Me and my boys, we look, nah, we good, man. Appreciate it though.
Maybe it's just me, but something right here seemed to be just a little bit off. If you stare into his eyes, I'm not sure there was anything there. I was getting super soldier vibes. You know what I'm saying? Definitely tap in and let me know what you think.
Something very strange happened outside of this sandbar in the skies of Cocoa Beach. You see everyone standing outside recording a light, but then all of a sudden, something insane happens and had everybody freaked out. Check this out. Nobody knows what that was, but I'll tell you something very interesting. In the book of Luke, the disciples asked Jesus about the end of times. They ask him, what signs will show that these things are getting ready to take place? And he said, there will be strange signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. Let this video be a reminder that we are living in the last days, the final moments of the last days, and Jesus is coming soon. Are you ready?
So Social Security had a new policy that came out that they are going to monitor through the Department of Homeland Security people that are traveling overseas. And people on social media go, oh my gosh, Social Security is monitoring people that are traveling overseas and stuff like that. No, they are, but it's only for people receiving SSI, supplemental security income. If you're receiving retirement benefits, disability benefits, spouse benefits, all that, Social Security doesn't care. You go to wherever you want, except for North Korea or Cuba. But for people receiving SSI, the welfare-based program, you can't go outside of the country for 30 days or longer without your benefits being suspended. So they've come up with a policy where if you're on SSI, and same thing with your bank account, same type of thing, the YouTubers and everybody out there don't know what Social Security involves, and they say, oh, Social Security is going to start looking at your bank records and how much you have in your bank anymore. No. If you have SSI, Supplemental Security Income, the welfare-based program, they've always done that. So they just changed the threshold recently.
I've never witnessed one of these in person before, but I have seen enough TikToks to know that that is a damn trap.
Never forget that the CEO who runs ChatGPT said this. I am happy to say that I am convinced that the job destruction in the next couple of decades is going to be massive. Like, honestly, one of the things that I struggle with, like getting out of the bed every morning, is that like my job is to help people destroy jobs. Like, how are billions of people going to replace the meaning they got from work with whatever they're going to fill their time with? And I think this is the number one challenge in front of technology.
This might be the weirdest sport ever. It is called nose pulling, and it is a part of the Native Youth Olympics. They put a tiny rope around two competitors and they pull as hard as they can, trying to make the other person tap out or to see who can endure the most pain. Some are saying this sport is how Voldemort lost his nose, except are we calling this a sport or is it just torture?
I have a mental health issue, sir, and you're gonna make it a lot worse. I swear to God. I have nothing on me.
Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Turn around and put your hands behind your back.
Bro, I just found this out. When you search up his name, it's normal, but like when you type his name opposite, then delete the spaces. He didn't do that.
You know something I've always wondered? What is the little space in between the toilet seat even made for? Like, what is the purpose of it? Can someone please help me and explain this to me?
Like, hold on a minute, bro. Why is that rock over there got metal inside it?
Weird things I found inside a human body. Strawberries, corn, let's say, just the things they were eating last, you know. And that's sometimes you find that they died on their last meal, you know, choked to death on whatever, you know. But I almost died in a Denny's. That's horrible. It was not because the food was bad, it was because I had taken medication that did not go well with me. I had a migraine, and a friend of mine gave me some of his medicine that said it would kill the migraine. Well, it almost killed me. I was just dizzy and everything, and I'm hearing this Denny's, and he's chewing on that big breakfast thing, and I can just hear that chomping. And I'm looking up in the sky and thinking, oh, please don't let it end this way. Couldn't it be Maxime's or Antoine's in the French Quarter, you know, someplace classy to die, not a Denny's. No.
Bro, tell me why I'm actually convinced that right now in 2026 that there has been some sort of timeline shift, and that I definitely shifted timelines, because when was Payless Shoe Stores ever Payless Shoe Stores? People in my hometown chime in, because I looked up the one in Grand Junction and the one in Glenwood Springs and it says Source. Like,
Y'all know y'all see that. I've got a juicy little nugget for y'all at the end of this video, so stay tuned.
Petrified giant, titan, whatever you want to call them. Check this out. No, what trips me out is everybody sees this and nobody sees it. You got a brow right there, eye, nose, and that's the center of the screen for anybody that doesn't know. There's the mouth, there's the chin, the whole shebang's there. A lot of people ask how they got so big, and my answer for you is that the angels came down and bred with human women, and they created Nephilim. Well, of course, Nephilim at some point bred with Nephilim that created giants. And if giants bred with giants, I imagine they just keep getting bigger and they turn into titans. And there's so many avenues and so many stories that I could go down with you. But of course you did have you had Satan's DNA mixed in there with Cain, because Satan beguiled Eve, and we weren't talking about an apple, let me tell you. We were talking about, you know what we were talking about. Come out to Colorado. We got the most amazing things to show you. We have a website now, petrifiedgiants.com. You can book a tour with us. Like, share, follow, repost. Check out my other videos. Till next time.
See, I think this is a game, but you know they say warning comes before destruction. And the NOAA already issued an El Nino watch for the summer. Mind you, they're saying that this is going to be one of the hottest summers ever recorded. Hear what I'm saying? They're saying that the planet might be the hottest it's ever been. Now let's go back to 1877. 50 million people died. And the same thing that they died from is supposedly happening this summer. Just imagine crop failure everywhere on this planet. Just imagine drought everywhere on this planet. Jump down the rabbit hole. Look at the similarities between the Pacific Ocean 1877 and the Pacific Ocean now. This ain't just about weather. Mind you, this El Nino that they're talking about, they're saying that this can happen this summer. I need you to do your research on what this is. You have stored heat that's been stored forever, pushed up out of the ocean into the surface. And then that heat is pushed out into the atmosphere. And if that happens, we are looking at a world of trouble. All I'm gonna say is this, look at the patterns. Look how it was just hot the other day, 93 degrees. And then what happened? You had rainstorms all around. Look at how it's hot this day, cool this day. That's not a coincidence. And that's not all. If a hurricane, tornado hits, those will be heightened if El Nino happens to happen. You better do your research. This is the same thing that killed 50 million people in 1887. I'm out.
Late one night in a remote part of the Cumberland Plateau in Alabama, a home security system was triggered by unusual movement in the backyard. The homeowner, living on a secluded rural property, began receiving motion alerts from multiple cameras. What the footage revealed was truly unsettling. A pale, human-like figure appeared on several different cameras positioned around the property.
What is that?
It's probably that coyote.
Right there. What the heck?
Is that that coyote?
No.
That's not a coyote. That's a person.
Where's the dog?
Wow.
Well, you better go now.
What the fuck
is that?
I don't know. The rooster's not too happy. Where's the dog? There's the dog. Why is she in her freaking pen?
Look.
What the? Oh my god. Yeah, but you see where it's standing?
Yeah, it's looking in the window at you.
It's at her window. What?
It's a good way to get shot in the face.
And the dog's just staring.
So why is the damn dog not barking?
Its behavior was anything but normal. Instead of simply walking past or trying to break in, the figure was seen running, crawling, and weaving in and out of the tree line, moving in ways that felt unnatural and erratic. Even more disturbing, it was captured from different angles on different cameras over an extended period of time. The location only added to the mystery. The property is isolated, surrounded by dense forest, with no nearby roads or signs of foot traffic. It's hard to imagine anyone just wandering through that area, especially in the middle of the night. Some online viewers speculated that the video might be AI generated, citing the figure's eerie appearance and unnatural movements. But typical AI videos tend to be short and often lack consistency across multiple perspectives. This footage, however, showed the same figure across several camera angles in real time, which makes that explanation less likely. Other theories suggested a prank, or that it could have been someone under the influence. But as the video spread, darker theories emerged. Given the property's location in the Appalachian region, some began connecting it to local folklore, from cryptid sightings to legends of humanoid creatures. While these ideas sound far-fetched, viewers are still left trying to make sense of what they saw. As of now, none of the theories have been confirmed. The identity of the figure remains unknown. There have been no follow-up sightings, and no clear answers. All that remains is this chilling footage, something roaming through the woods in a place where no one...
Or like a fucking woman or something. That was a female fucking screaming, Phil. Please, please, please. No.
This creepy video is by a user named Khaos, and it should be noted that his normal content is not horror related in any way. Viewers from part 1 stated that this was a bobcat, or just some normal wildlife that they ran into, and I tended to agree. That is until I saw part 2. But as always, let me know what you think.
Dude, you need to fucking help that fucking person, man. It's supposedly fucking idiot. Phil, that sounds like some scary movie shit. Fucking middle of nowhere. Dude, I have the biggest fucking revolver ever, dude. I'd fucking do it. Do it first. That's probably. Dude, we're not nowhere. Dude, that sounds like some haunted ass shit, dude. What happened to the other steel target? There's two. Wait, what the fuck one right there on the ground. What the fuck is that? It's on the ground. What the fuck is that? The fuck is what? That right there. What the fuck is that? Dude, that's not normal. No. Please tell me you guys are f***ing. Oh! No!
As you can see, a very tall, shadowy figure appears to walk down a flight of stairs before seemingly vanishing into thin air. If this footage is genuine, it's hard not to notice just how tall the figure looks, far taller than what most people imagine when they think of a ghost. With very little context provided beyond where it was filmed, it's difficult to say what's really happening. Some viewers believe this could be a genuine apparition caught on CCTV, especially since the figure appears to move naturally through the space before disappearing. Others believe the effect could be caused by a camera glitch. Low frame rate security cameras often struggle with moving objects, especially on staircases or escalators. A person walking downward could partially disappear due to compression, motion smoothing, or frame blending, making it look like they fade out of existence rather than simply leaving the camera's focus. Still, seeing a towering figure appear and vanish inside an empty store
is enough to unsettle just about anyone, and this clip leaves behind an eerie sense of uncertainty.
This person may have just caught a Wendigo on camera. I'm gonna roll the clip right now.
Himself riding his bike around the gardens of his town. However, he is almost brought down by some creature that almost collides with him. You can see that he is definitely startled, and when he turns around to see what almost hit him, it is gone. Some people say that this could just be an escaped monkey of some sort.
Now, the only mistake I saw in that clip is that he stopped and turned around. He should have been pedaling way faster after that thing fell.
Security camera captures something terrifying. This house you see here has been abandoned for a long time. Suddenly, you see this lady going through the window there. What is strange is this woman's feet before going into the house. They definitely don't look human.
Your bloodline continues through your daughter, not your son. But your name continues through your son. But your bloodline, that's a daughter thing right there. Throughout the Bible and throughout any religious practice, they're going to tell you about the importance of daughters. It's only till modern times that maybe a daughter isn't seen the same, but a daughter matters extremely. And I believe that what has happened is the dark energy has attacked humans, or has attacked families, has attacked relationships to the point now where when you see a daughter, you think that maybe she's less important as your son, because the communities and the government has made it where the man matters so much, but your bloodline continues through your daughter.
You ever seen an alien mothership? You're about to. This footage is filmed over the Czech Republic, April 22nd, 2026. And guys, I'll be honest, first glance, first thought, it looks like that thing from the movie Independence Day. You remember the big ship that blows up the White House? It looks like that, a giant freaking spaceship in the sky. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm looking at. I've seen people online think it could be spotlights or something of the sort. I don't know why there'd be so many in one place. Let me know what y'all think.
We have clocks that are so accurate. If we had a clock on this desk, and then if we moved it up about 2 feet, we could actually detect time flowing differently because you're just that far away from the Earth's gravity, just 2 feet. Your head and your feet are actually going through time at slightly different rates. You probably liked movies like Interstellar. Remember the big black hole? Mm-hmm. And the closer they get to the big black hole, the slower time goes. That's not a theory. That's something we can actually measure with clocks. And a black hole has so much gravity, it does it a lot more dramatically. But it's happening right in this room. Seriously, your head is in a different time frame than your feet right now.
That's nuts.
Google wants to release an army of 32 million mosquitoes to battle other mosquitoes and save lives. But people are worried because the last time this was done, a sort of super mosquito was bred. And people are also wondering, why is a tech company doing this? So, is the panic justified? Well, here's everything you need to know. Google's plan is to mass breed male mosquitoes that are infected with a specific bacteria and release them. Only female mosquitoes bite, meaning they're the only ones that can transmit diseases to humans. The bacteria infected in the male lab mosquitoes essentially acts as a birth control. They will mate with wild females, the eggs won't hatch, and the hope is the specific mosquito species that carries dengue and yellow fever collapses. Now, this technique has been done by governments for decades, with some success and some disaster. But Google has industrialized the breeding process with AI and robotics at a scale only a tech giant could. Similar projects produced harder to control hybrid mosquitoes in Brazil, triggered a 350% dengue spike in Puerto Rico, but it was also incredibly effective in Singapore. On June 5th, the EPA decides whether or not Google will be releasing those mosquitoes over California and Florida.
Hey, just let me know where they're releasing those mosquitoes, and that's where I won't be. For some reason, mosquitoes love me.
When's the last time you saw a new cemetery being built? I don't think I've ever seen a new cemetery ever.
32 million of the deadliest animals are about to be dropped in the United States, and a lot of people think this is actually a good idea. Google, out of all of the companies, they're the one who wants to do this. They want to drop 32 million mosquitoes in California and in Florida as part of its debug program. So this is why they want to do it according to them. They're going to tap into their technology. They're going to breed 32 million male sterile mosquitoes in a lab, which will then lower the number of illness-spreading bugs when they release them into the wild or whatever. So like I said in the beginning, mosquitoes are labeled the world's deadliest animal because they killed more people than any other creature in the world because of the diseases they spread. But they will all be male mosquitoes. The reason they're all going to be male is because males don't bite. They're also all going to be carrying this certain type of bacteria which stops them from having offspring with wild female mosquitoes. So when they mate with a female, her eggs won't hatch. Only one who thinks this is just insane. Like, if they can pull this off, sure, that's impressive. But even if they're releasing good mosquitoes, 32 million of them as a California resident, I don't know if I can get on board with that.
Look at this perfect line in the sky. Mine. Crazy.
This might look fake, but it's not. Those rainbow colors in the clouds are completely real. It's called cloud iridescence. It happens when sunlight bends around tiny droplets or ice crystals in the cloud, separating the light into these soft colors. And the key is size. When those droplets are all nearly the same size, the colors line up and really pop like this. You'll often see it in thin, wispy clouds, but obviously it can show up in thicker clouds too if the conditions are just right. So no filter, no AI, just sunlight and clouds lining up perfectly.
You're gonna be dead forever, and you weren't born for a long time. And so in this little window that all of us have, why not try to fight for enjoyment? This concept of beating yourself up for what you're not just kills me.
Airplane oxygen masks don't connect to oxygen tanks. They connect to a small canister that ignites a 500-degree chemical reaction above your head to produce oxygen. Let me explain. When you pull the mask to your face, it releases a spring-loaded pin, which strikes the percussion cap containing a small explosive trigger. The igniter heats up a chemical called sodium chlorate, and when it gets hot enough, it breaks apart and releases pure oxygen gas. According to Skybrary, which is a safety database endorsed by the International Civil Aviation Organization, a canister can reach up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, of course, the heat is completely contained in the overhead compartment, and the oxygen is cooled and filtered before it reaches you. What's interesting is they only make 12 to 20 minutes of oxygen depending on the size and type. And the reason for that is these masks aren't meant to keep you alive for the whole flight. The FAA requires a minimum of only 10 minutes of oxygen per passenger above 25,000 feet. In that amount of time, pilots can do an emergency descent into 10,000 feet where the air is thick enough to breathe normally. Honestly, this kind of practical technology is such a breath of fresh air.
I can have the superpower of any animal on Earth. I want that one. Let me explain. Meet the leaf sheep. Basically, that weird little creature is a sea slug, and they're found all over the ocean. They're actually related to the blue dragon sea slug, which are famous for eating jellyfish, stealing their venom, and then using their venom in their own sting. That's known as a kleptopredator. They steal their prey's abilities. And the leaf sheep is also a kleptopredator, except to a whole nother level. At a young age, these guys will feed on nothing but plants, like algae. And over time, they will actually steal the ability of photosynthesis from the plants, which means they no longer need to eat food. Any energy they need from that point forward, they'll get from the sun, like a plant. In other words, it's a solar-powered sea slug. That is not a sentence I'd ever thought I'd say. Moral of the story, this thing is basically Kirby in real life. The ocean is a crazy place. And as always, follow for more facts.
What if Adam and Eve weren't our size, but much larger? Some believe that the first humans were actually 15 feet tall. Before the flood, the oxygen levels were way higher. I mean, we have fossils of dragonflies with 3-foot wingspans. Everything just grew massive. In a high-pressure, high-oxygen world, biological limits vanish. If the insects and plants were supersized, why wouldn't the humans be? Of course, this is just a fun theory, and it's never explicitly talked about in the Bible. But let me know what you guys think down below. Follow me for more real-life mysteries.
So in the future, if civilization continues, will be millions, maybe billions of photorealistic, like indistinguishable from reality video games, and with characters in those video games that are very deep, and where the the dialogue is not pre-programmed. That's for sure what's going to happen in this level of the simulation, if you could call it. So then what are the odds that we're in base reality, and that this has not happened before?
Someone asked me how old I was earlier, and I said old enough to remember when BlackBerry was more popular than iPhone. I'm getting up there in age, man.
I'm pretty sure if BlackBerry came back today, they would be a massive hit.
More than half the internet isn't people, it's bots. And the creepiest thing is, they're not even talking to you. They're talking to other bots. As of last year, bots made up 53% of the internet's traffic. This is the second year in a row that they've outnumbered humans. And there's actually a name for this. It's called the dead internet theory. It's the idea that the entire internet is being replaced by a simulation of itself. And for years, that was a conspiracy, but it's not looking so much like a conspiracy anymore, which should be the theme song of 2026.
Now, if you're not a bot, definitely hit that like button to let me know.
Prosthetics, it's a light, sort of very light latex, which is a false lid. I hate them. They're actually, they're quite comfortable. And the great thing about them, no acting required once you've got those on. You just stand there and it all happens. Slip into the room. Yeah. Yeah.
So then I step out, watch, look. Right there, boom.
They came out of nowhere.
They just appeared.
So like, there was like nothing on the floor right now?
This man went into the inner earth, Shambhala Agfa, however you pronounce it, and this is what happens when he came out. This isn't AI, you can find this on the internet, it's been around for a while. And basically he was a sheep herder in Greece, and up on the top of the mountains he fell into a hole that he couldn't get out of, so he had to walk, and it was pitch black. And eventually he came across these walls that had light on it, which was, I guess, bioluminescence. So he kept following it, trying to find his way out, and eventually he came across a civilization under the earth who basically didn't speak his language, but he got enough understanding from them to sort of say that they were ancestors of the gods. And for whatever reason, he didn't say what happened to his eyes, why he had the bags under his eyes went, but when he came out, he was looking like that. They let him out.
New World screwworm larvae were found in a 3-week-old calf in La Pryor, Texas, according to the USDA. A 12-mile quarantine zone around the detection site is being established, and screwworm traps are being set up. This is the first confirmed screwworm case in Texas since 1966.
Did you have flesh-eating screwworms on your 2026 bingo card? And why do I ask that? Because right now, this is happening in Texas. You got flesh-eating screwworms that feed off of warm-blooded animals. And it just seems the way there's been such little reporting other than what you're seeing from local Texas news organizations, the rest of the country just doesn't care, but Texas is sounding the alarm. And to put a little more context onto what these guys actually do, they eat living flesh. Keep that in the back of your mind. They don't go looking for like animals that are deceased on the side of the road. They will eat living flesh. And if you recall, the United States got rid of these back in the 1960s. So the question needs to be asked, why are they back? And we didn't think about these bugs for over 60 years, but now we need to start thinking about them. So what is now officially the worst case scenario? They claim that they did not start in Texas, so then we need to figure out how they got there. And what happens now if they start moving through livestock and moving all through the United States? So keep a close eye on this, even though you can say, well, it's in Texas, it's not where I am. But if it starts going through livestock and animals get affected, the price of everything starts to go this way. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Alpha-gal symptom, which makes humans permanently allergic to red meat, is rapidly spreading in the US. Here's how to tell if you're infected and which states it's most common in. Alpha-gal symptom is a relatively recent discovery, first identified in 2007. Since then, the estimated number of cases has increased to over 500,000. It's primarily acquired through a bite from the Lone Star tick, and while not everyone who is bitten will develop the allergy to red meat, those who do you are likely to carry it for life. Currently, there is no known cure, though the severity of the allergy usually decreases over the span of 3 to 5 years. However, the best way to prevent infection is to avoid getting bit by the Lone Star tick in the first place, which can be most commonly found in the eastern US, stretching all the way from Texas to Miami to Massachusetts and Oklahoma. Symptoms of the infection usually start within a few weeks of the initial bite and show up after the individual consumes any red meat products, including milk. But unlike most food allergies, reactions do not occur immediately. Instead, they typically appear 3 to 5 hours later, with common reactions including hives, nausea, swelling, and difficulty breathing.
NASA discovered city lights on a planet 11 trillion kilometers away, which is just around the Oort cloud, a sphere of ice and other space debris that surrounds our solar system, kind of like our backyard. And there's a planet here? For the longest time, NASA used the Hubble telescope, which orbited Earth, to take the craziest pics of deep space since 1990. Then in 2021, NASA launched the OP James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, that just stepped in and said, hold my beer. Hubble has a 2.4 meter primary mirror, which is what it uses to zoom in so far, and was in orbit just 570 kilometers above Earth. JWST has a 6.5 meter mirror and orbits 1.5 million kilometers above Earth, which is past the moon. So powerful that it can detect artificial light, such as that produced by a city or a nuclear explosion on other planets, which was previously not possible. Well, the closest planets to our solar system are 4.2 light years away in the Proxima Centauri star system. Then, how did we spot city lights 11 trillion kilometers or 1.2 light years away in our cosmic backyard? This must mean we found the forbidden planet X, you know, the Anunnaki planet of Nibiru with its elongated orbit around the sun that visits us once. Nope, it doesn't look like we actually found anything. Turns out an article just stated that JWST can detect artificial light from that distance and got misinterpreted.
I just heard someone online say, every time you feel like God isn't there, just remember that the teacher is always silent during the test.
The term forever chemicals that you're probably familiar with is basically all because of his work.
We are now bringing a new case where we're seeking to represent everyone in the country who now has these chemicals in their blood. But what we now know is PFOA is just one of many of these man-made synthetic chemicals that are getting out in our water, in our blood.
As Robert says, it doesn't even stop there, because these chemicals have been leached across the US.
Just outside of Bangor, Maine is Herman High School. Some 500 kids come here each day to learn, but they can't drink the water.
We're alleging that 3M and DuPont created these chemicals, had the science that showed just how dangerous they were, how toxic they were, how they were going to last forever.
Seeing correlations with thyroid disease, certain kinds of cancer, kidney disease, liver dysfunction. They're called forever chemicals because they stay in your body.
They're in the tap water, they're in the rain, they're in the food supply. They've even reached the Arctic and other countries. So this disaster is not only contained to the US. DuPont settled the initial lawsuits for $670 million, and the litigation is still ongoing. The story was eventually made into a Hollywood film, Dark Waters, in 2019, starring Mark Ruffalo as Robert, and a documentary, The Devil We Know, which followed the families in West Virginia whose water had been poisoned.
David Fulvetta, who was the 2012 Avian Photographer of the Year, captured this rare footage of a baby king vulture chick in its natural habitat in the Amazon rainforest. The king vulture is among the largest flying birds in the Western Hemisphere. The chick displays the species' characteristic facial structure and early feather development. Mr. Fulvetta stated that he has always been in awe at the beauty and grace of the king vulture, and that he hopes this footage will help the public to develop a deeper appreciation for this magnificent bird.
That bird looks like he escaped somebody's laboratory. I mean, literally looks like he was mixed with a human.
That's what happens when you start cutting people off. It becomes a habit. And as the years go by, you start pushing more and more people out of your life. And then all of a sudden you look around, only to find that you're old and alone.
They don't make TV shows like that anymore, man. Well, you guys, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for always stopping by, watching, and learning with me. If you haven't already, do me the biggest favor and hit that like button for me, hit that hype button, and subscribe if you're not a part of the iTrack fam, and I will definitely catch you on the next one.